أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ثم أما بعد. It's always good to come back to spend عليه وسلم. Knowledge will help us inshallah by implementing it and spreading this knowledge to others who could not make it here. So last time we talked about the fada'il of al-wudu, the excellence of al-wudu, and we've also talked about the fara'id al-wudu, the obligatory acts of wudu. And we mentioned a number of them, and we said there are 6. The 4 mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, plus the niyyah in the beginning and keeping the order in the end. So niyyah, to have the niyyah, and we mentioned last time that according to Abu Hanifa, it is not a must, not obligatory, but the adillah or the dalil of those who said niyyah is a must, is obligatory, is much stronger, because this is part of any kind of ibadah. The difference between ibadah and non-ibadah is the niyyah. So we have to have a niyyah of al-wudu, and then we wash our washing the face, washing the hands up to the elbow, and wiping on the head, and washing the feet. These are 5 things, and the 6th one is keeping this order. All right, and we have talked about some other opinions, like Imam Malik when he said tadliq, or wrapping the body is obligatory, and also said the muwala, which means that you don't leave a big gap between washing one limb and the other. But these are the 6 important things that we have to keep in mind when we make wudu. These are the fara'id. Inshallah, today we'll talk about the sunan, or the sunnah acts of al-wudu. But before we get into that, I remember you've asked about wiping on the socks, because since washing the feet is one of the obligations that we have to observe, then how about wiping on the socks? And plenty of questions, and I think it's a very good time to talk about this now, since we really need to use this if it's allowed. Wiping on the socks. It's a long story. I'll try to make it very short. Surah Al-Ma'idah, in the ayah of Surah Al-Ma'idah that says امسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين. So this qira'ah, there are 2 qira'ahs actually. One is وأرجلكم, which we always read, but there's another authentic qira'ah that says اغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم. So, and this is the qira'at of Abdullah ibn Abbas and Ikrimah, Ubay ibn Ka'ab radiyallahu anhu, and Hamza, and many other Sahaba and Tabi'een. So it's an authentic qira'ah as well. So therefore, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu gave the fatwa that you can wipe on your feet. You don't have to wash it, based on this qira'ah, arjulikum, because it connects the wiping on the head and wiping on the feet. However, the majority of the ulama is with the other qira'ah, arjulakum, which means that you have to wash your feet. The Ja'fari madhab, for example, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq and his students, they believe that, or they argue that it is okay to wipe on your feet. You don't have to wash it. And they narrated the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas, who said that wudu is 2 masah and 2 ghasl. I'm just giving you a background about other opinions. 2 masah means the head and the feet, and the 2 ghasl, the face and the hands. But again, the majority, including the 4 madhahib, they believe, or they maintain that washing the feet is the right qira'ah, and because it's supported by the hadith and so on. Now, when we look at wiping on the khuf, the concept of khuf, the word khuf is the leather socks, if you want, that you used to wear at that time. So there are plenty of ahadith, number of ahadith, that called mutawatir. Mutawatir means has been narrated by great number of Sahaba. So to Abu Hanifa, this is authentic enough to particularize the general ruling in the Quran. The Quran says wash, then you have to wash, unless there's a very authentic hadith that says you can wipe on your socks or your khuf. Okay, so based on this, Imam Abu Hanifa, and actually this ijma', their ijma' means there's consensus between all scholars that it's okay for a person to wipe on his khuf. Now, does this apply to socks? Well, there are another 4 ahadith that says that hadith of Mughira ibn Shu'bah, hadith of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, Thawban, and Anas ibn Malik. 4 ahadith that says that Rasulullah sallallahu wiped on his socks, the jawrab, right? And there's also something called al-lafa'if. Lafa'if means that when in the old days they don't have socks tailored to fit our feet like this. So they used to wrap any piece of clothes around their feet to keep it warm, right? Or because of an injury. So lafa'if is another term used. And there's also something called tasakhin. Tasakhin, it also refers to whatever you put on your feet to keep it warm, because tasakhins come from the word sakhin. Sakhin means hot, right? Tasakhin are a piece of clothes they put around their feet to keep it warm. And this hadith of Thawban radiallahu anhu, when they were traveling and they came back and they were complaining to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, imagine people travel in the winter time at that time and they have to make wudu, and so he sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them to wipe on their lafa'if or tasakhin, right? So this hadith of Thawban and other ahadith, Hanafi people said, no, these hadith are not authentic enough. Therefore, we're not going to follow it. It will just keep it aside. You know, so you have to wash. This is where the disagreement came from. So they said it's okay to wipe on the leather because there are plenty of authentic hadith. That's okay. But for lafa'if or socks or jawarib, yes, there are 3 or 4 ahadith, but they are not authentic enough. The other ulama who strongly believe that it's okay to wipe on your socks, they said they investigated this 4 ahadith, and I was reading actually a hadith book written by the Allama of Sham, and was edited by the two greatest muhaddithin of our modern time, Imam Ahmad Shakir and Imam Al-Albani. These are the best or among the best muhaddithin in our modern time. Both of them passed away, rahimahumullah. But they actually edited this book, and they said they supported this fact that these 4 ahadith are very authentic. In addition, so the word, those who disagree with the concept of masah al-jawrab said no, it only has to be leather. Now, the linguistic question is, does the word jawrab or socks included in the word khuf? Because the word khuf, they said the word khuf refers only to the leather, the socks made of leather. But Imam Shakir radiallahu anhu, rahimahullah, he said that the word jawrab or socks is including the word khuf. There's no difference between the two. And he quoted the hadith of Anas radiallahu anhu. So Anas, you know all Anas. Anas served Rasulullah 10 years. He was to bring his wudu for him, take care of his personal things, right? So, and he said that I put my khuf. He referred to the socks to a khuf. So linguistically, the word khuf does not refer only to socks made of leather. So Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said, even if it's not included, with qiyas, with analogy, there's no major difference between a socks made of leather and a socks made of wool or cotton. There's no difference. Because the reason, the illah, or the effective cause, they call it usuliyun, the effective cause between these two things, the hukm is made because it is difficult for people to wash their feet. When it's difficult, then you can use this. You can wipe instead of washing. So now, if you are wearing a socks made of leather, and I wear a socks made of wool or cotton, whatever, now it's cold. Why is it that you are allowed to wipe? You don't have to take it off and wash it. and I have to, because mine is cotton and yours is leather. So by analogy, even if the word khuf does not include the socks made of wool or cotton, then the analogy suggests that because this is given to them because of the hardship, the difficulty, then similarly, if you are wearing the socks made of leather or wool, then you should do this when it gets difficult. Now, the question is it difficult to wash your feet? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. If you are staying home or in the masjid here, it's easy to take off and wash. But is it easy or difficult to do this in the workplace, in the airport, in a conference, in the public bathrooms? So the difficulties varies from one place to the other. Does it have to be tough to wipe on the socks or the... No, it doesn't have to get difficult. In other words, if you're staying home, and you want to wipe on the socks with the conditions that we'll mention, then you can do that. It doesn't have to be really difficult, So the bottom line here, just to make the long story short, some ulama said that, including the Hanafi school, that you can wipe on the socks if it's only made of leather. The second category for them is that yes, you can wipe on the socks with 3 conditions, they said. These 3 conditions are, it has to be very thick, to the point where water does not infiltrate and reach your skin. And I don't know where these conditions came from, we'll discuss this. The second condition that has to stand by itself. You don't have to tie it with something else. So the third one is that it should be strong enough to walk 1 mile. Right? These are the 3 conditions mentioned in the Fatawa, in Hanafi madhab, which is the strictest one in this thing. Imam Abu al-A'la al-Mawdudi, rahimahullah, Allama Mawdudi as is known, he said, I have exerted every effort to find these 3 conditions in the Sunnah and I never found it anywhere. There's no hadith, there's no saying of a Sahabi, nothing. So these conditions came mainly to ensure that even if the sock is not made of leather, it has the same quality of leather. And what are the quality of leather? These 3 qualities. That does not allow water to reach your skin, strong enough, and stand on its own. It's not dependent on something to keep it. Imam Ibn Hazm and others, they disregard all these conditions, because where do you get these conditions from? Oh, it's a logical thing. Okay, your logical thing does not, is not as strong as the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So basically, the majority of the ulama, according to Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, maintain that it is okay to wipe on your socks, whether it's made of leather, wool, cotton, or anything else. And because now, for those who argue that it has to be leather, what kind of leather? So, is it a leather of a cow, or a leather of a goat, or a sheep, or a deer, or does it have to be natural leather? Then let's define natural leather. How about this blended leather? How about leather blended with plastic or any other chemicals? So the point that many of the ulama who said it has to be leather don't understand is the difference of time. The difference in time, or the difference of customs. Yeah, they used to wear these leather things because it's hot, and leather makes sense. They walk with it. So they walk with this khuf. It's like because it's sand. So you need something that protects your feet from the hot sand. Now we wear shoes. We have paved roads, and we wear socks. We don't wear socks made of leather. Very small, very small group of Muslims who would like to do that because of this fatwa, so they wear leather. They can wipe on it. But the mass majority of Muslims, people around the world, they don't wear socks made of leather. So, and again, it was made permissible for the Sahaba to wipe on their khuf made of leather at that time because of the difficulty, because of the cold, because of the hardship. So, bottom line is, yes, you can wipe on your socks with 3 conditions. And these conditions are mentioned in the hadith. You can trace them to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Hadith al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah radiallahu anhu, who used to help the Prophet ﷺ making his wudu. They were, and then he went to take off the khuf of the Prophet ﷺ, made of leather, and the Prophet ﷺ said, no, keep it because I put it on tahara. In other words, I was in wudu and I put them in wudu. So this is the first condition, that if you want to wipe on your socks, then you have to put it on wudu. So in the morning, you wash your feet, make wudu. Before you leave to your work, you put your socks on, and then you can wipe on it. So, but if you put it on while you are not in state of wudu, then you cannot wipe on it. Is this point clear? All right. I just want to make sure that you are following me. So I'll ask you a few questions just to find out. All right. The second one is the time. It is 3 days and nights for travelers. So if you are traveling, it happens sometimes you travel, it's difficult. Sometimes you travel almost 24 hours from one airport to the other to arrive to your final destination. And of course 5 hours before that, before you leave home. And so it happens sometimes that you need to keep it on for a long period of time. So you are allowed to do that 3 days and nights. And while you are not traveling or home, then it is a day and a night, or in other words, 24 hours. When does this time start? If you put your socks in the morning, do you count from the time you put it on, or from the first time you wiped on it? Okay, two opinions, but the stronger one is that from the time you wipe on it. So let's say that you wake up at 6 a.m. and you made wudu and you prayed subh and you eat your breakfast, and then you put your socks on at 7 o'clock, let's say, in a set of wudu. You put it on. Do you count from the 7 o'clock, or at the dhuhr time when you need to make wudu and then you wipe on it? Yes, from this time, from the time of dhuhr. So you are allowed to wipe on your socks until the dhuhr of next day. All right? Is it clear? All right. So the timing is important. 24 hours if you're not traveling, and after that you have to take it off and wash your feet again. Okay. What else? Yes, the Sifat al-Masah, how to do the Masah. You do the bottom or the top of your feet. You do the top of your feet, not the bottom. Just one time, get your hand wet and wipe